What's up, everybody? Been a while since I've done like a reflective vlog, so here we go. I want to talk about moving mountains, and this came about because I've been struggling, as you know, with the imposter syndrome. And even though I told myself I'm going to keep pushing on this YouTube stuff, and I am. I've done really good so far, especially since I actually made a business out of it. But it's still a struggle, and I'm not seeing the progress I would like to see on it. But I know it's not really up to me as to the progress that gets made. But this is one of my mountains. And this vlog came about really because through church I met Phillip Baker, runs Phillip Baker Ministries. Excellent person. And I signed up for a daily email from him. And the series this week has just been exactly what I needed. So I want to take a minute to talk about it. And so my mountain is my self-doubt, my imposter syndrome. And the series is 5 emails this week, and the first one was called "What is a Mountain?" It says, "We are told by Jesus in Mark the 11th chapter to speak to the mountain and it will move." What is the mountain? A mountain can be something bad in your life that you do not want in your life. A mountain is something the devil has sent your way to stop you. A mountain is anything standing between you and God's promises. And that just hit me like a ton of bricks. You know, this imposter syndrome, this is the devil trying to stop me from doing something that I enjoy. And, you know, I like to bring joy to other people's lives. So I feel like this is part of my calling, just to put this stuff out there. But there are lots of other mountains that affect me too. And that was the subject of Tuesday. It was called Many Mountains. And it said, Jesus told us in Mark the 11th chapter to speak to the mountain and it would move. There are many mountains we all have to deal with in life. Mountains can be disease, pain, debt, fear, regret, depression, sin, bitterness, addiction, the past, worry. The list goes on and on. Speak to them and command them to move. And, you know, I've been trying to speak to my mountains. I got more than one. Speak to my mountains and get them to move. And it's hard to do. But as I learned on Wednesday of this week, the mountain has ears. Jesus tells us in Mark the 11th chapter to speak to the mountain and it will move. This tells me the mountain has ears, not eyes. It does not move because of what it sees, only by what it hears. We must speak to the mountain. So my mountain of imposter syndrome, it doesn't see the hard work that I am putting into this YouTube channel. It needs to be spoken to, and I have been trying to speak to it. But on Thursday, you know, I hit that same thing. The title of it was "It's Not Moving." Why is the mountain not moving? Many Christians spend their time talking to God about their mountains instead of talking to the mountains about their God. Faith speaks to the mountain and the mountain moves. And that's part of where I was going wrong. I was speaking to God about my mountain instead of speaking to my mountain about my God. So I've been trying to make that change, and it is tough to do because, you know, we as human beings, we want to see that progress. Like, you know, I want to see subscribers coming to me, flocking to me, and just something blow up. But that's not part of the plan. But I still speak to God about this a lot, and He's shown me, and you'll get your April monthly wrap up in 2 weeks. But the past 3 days, I have gained 1 subscriber each day, and that's at least 1 today. So we'll see what the end of the day, what the end of the day brings. May only bring 1, and that's okay. But here's the one that really got me. This was from today, titled "Laughing Mountains." It says, "Have you ever spoke to the mountain and it laughed at you? The mountain told you no." The reason mountains do not move when we speak to them is because we do not move when God speaks to us. When we move slow, the mountains move slow. When we move fast, the mountains move fast. When we do not know God's voice, the mountain will not know our voice. And that just kind of tied it up in a nice little bow. It's hard to make this mountain move, but that's where that faith the size of a mustard seed comes into play. And sometimes it's hard to have even that much amount of faith. I firmly believe that God needed me to be a teacher. And I firmly believe that God wants me to spread joy through the internet, through YouTube. If one takes off than the other, then that's the way it is. But this mountain of my imposter syndrome is a hard mountain to move. And I am going to speak to it to make it move. I have to speak to it to make it move. Because if I don't make these videos, whatever they happen to be, then my mountain wins. The enemy wins. So I got to keep speaking to it. I got to keep pushing it. And sometimes, you can only move that mountain just a little bit. But like I said, 3 subscribers over the past 3 days. I moved that mountain by 3 subscribers over the past 3 days. I have moved my mountain once every day over the last 3 days. And that's great, because my mountain moved. And you can move your mountain too. Whatever your mountain is, whatever kind of self-doubt or, debt or anything that I listed before, you can move it. You just got to speak to it. Speak to it about your God. Okay? And I think it's still okay to speak to your God about your mountain. I speak to God about my mountain all the time. And that's okay. But, yeah. And you may have noticed my background here is a little bit different. I'm actually in my office at the high school. Ashley's up here doing guard tryouts. You can see my sign. Apparently, I'm for sale for $8. So I don't know who gets that money. I don't know if it goes to Ashley or if it goes to the band, but for sale, $8. But yeah, speak to your mountain. Move your mountain, whatever that mountain is. I got a couple of mountains I'm moving, and sometimes you got to push one for a little bit, take a break, and then go push another one. I've got several mountains that I'm pushing, and I'm speaking to them, and I'm just telling them to get out of my way. You can do the same. Okay, let's move our mountains together. Tell me what your mountain is if you want to, down in the comments, and I will say a prayer for you. I will speak to God about your mountain for you. Okay, so just hang in there. I love y'all. And remember, 41 is coming. It's coming.